Hey, folks, welcome to Affiliate Nerd Out. I'm your nerd Dustin House. Spreading that good word about affiliate marketing. You're going to find me here every Thursday at noon on LinkedIn Live, where I interview a guest. And my guest today is Vanessa Lawrence, Content's Chief Content Officer over at Linkby. Welcome to the Nerdatorium, Vanessa.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. Big fan of the podcast.
Yes, and I'm a fan of what you do over at Linkby. I think it is a very unique and incredible offer as a publisher, and it's changing the industry in a good way. And I'm very excited to have you on board today and talk a little bit more about it.
Thanks so much. That's very nice of you to say.
Awesome. And sorry I missed you at ASW. Did you have a good one out there?
Yes, I did. It was a really great conference. I mean, it's always such a good opportunity to catch up with, partners from all over the country, publishers, brands, agencies. I did get struck down by norovirus on the last day of the conference though. So all that handshaking and gallivanting around casinos got me in the end. But ultimately, it was a great few days.
Gallivanting is such a great way to put it. I love that word so much. And I did the same. I don't know if there is an affiliate summit that I haven't got sick at before. Yes, it is the shaking of hands, trading the germs. Somebody's gonna come there sick and pass it around. It's inevitable. Like this time around, I got really lucky. I didn't come home with anything, but luckily my children were very sick when I got home and gave me that. So
Oh,
we still got it regardless.
you couldn't escape. They got you in the end.
Cannot escape. Yes.
But I feel like, leaving Vegas somewhat ill is kind of a rite of passage, you know? Have you done the course right if you come back home in full health? I'm not sure.
You're doing it wrong. Correct.
Exactly, exactly.
Awesome. All right. Well, Vanessa, tell us about who you are.
Yeah, I mean, that's a question I ask myself every day, Dustin. If you can't tell from the accent, I am an Aussie, but I live in New York. So I moved here for Linkby about 2.5 years ago now. But essentially, my background has always been in publishing. Started out in magazines when they were still in, their heyday, working for, some of the biggest brand names in the world. And then from there, moved into digital and worked alongside actually our Linkby's CEO and co-founder Chris for many years at his first business venture, which was he founded with his partner, one of the largest youth publisher in Australia, which he later sold in a multi-million-dollar deal to the Nine Network, which is Australia's biggest broadcaster. And from there, he kind of founded Linkby. But yeah, that's how we met. I basically ran all the publisher sites for that business. It's called Pedestrian Group. And at the time, we were licensing global brands like Business Insider, Pop Sugar. We signed the first global licensing deal for Vice, for Refinery 29 Australia. So Gizmodo, Kotaku, Lifehacker, all of those incredible publishing brands sat under the Pedestrian Group umbrella. And then I oversaw all the editorial and affiliate teams for each of those publishers.
Awesome. It makes sense why you have this title of Chief Content Officer. It's a very rare title I see. I rarely see like a director of affiliate marketing or
Yeah.
something of that extent. I'm very excited that you have got to this echelon. It's a good trend I want to see for the rest of the community out there of
Yeah.
content creators.
Thank you.
Awesome. So tell us more about Linkby. What do you guys do and who do you serve out there?
Yeah. So I feel like, the thing with Linkby is that we mean different things to different partners, whether you're a publisher or whether you're a brand or an agency. But I think in the most basic of terms, we are an ad tech platform and we connect brands with our network of premium publishers on what's predominantly a cost per click or CPC basis. And that basically allows those brands to secure really valuable, highly contextual editorial coverage with zero upfront costs. We've been around for only about 5 years now, and we now operate out of North America, the UK, Ireland, Australia, Singapore, Malaysia, and we are looking to expand into Europe later this year. We actually just onboarded our first European publisher in Marie Claire, France. So that's exciting. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that kind of pans out. There's a lot of interest from brands in the European market for sure.
Oh, okay. You guys are dipping in there. That's great. Uh,
Yeah.
I I have been really impressed with your guys' model. It came out of nowhere. This and the concept of an affiliate manager able to get content on major publications without having to buy a sponsorship was mind blowing for me and very unique in this industry. And I love that you guys are leading this charge into this CPC boom, which is our topic of the day of how to get in on this CPC boom and affiliate. So let's start off small. And can you define what CPC is in affiliate marketing?
Yeah, for sure. So essentially, CPC is cost per click. And what that means is that the brand is only paying out for the clicks that a publisher is able to drive back to, their landing page of choice. So in Linkby terms, the way that it works is that a brand will come to us with a specific objective in mind. So maybe it's a product launch. Maybe they're looking to secure a first person review. Maybe they're running a sale, so like a BFCM sale or just a random, great 20% off sale that they want to promote. Or maybe it's just like a top of funnel brand awareness campaign. So they'll come to our team with an objective. They will put together what's essentially a press release. We call it a campaign brief. And then from there, they set their budget and their kind of preferred campaign parameters. So the CPC that they're happy to pay out on. So for every click that a publisher drives, what is the CPC that, they're committing to? And then the timeline that they're happy for the campaign to run. So we usually see CPCs from, and this is for North America specifically, CPCs from about, $2 right the way up to $4 or $5, depending on the product.
Wow.
Nice and high, and obviously depends on the brand, depends on the publisher. But generally speaking, we don't go below $2 just because of the caliber of publishers that we work with. And then from there, once the brand has that brief together on the platform, they're able to select from our, now enormous publisher network in terms of who they would really love to work with on that brief. And then that campaign kind of wings its way into those publishers' dashboards for consideration. So they would review the opportunity, they look at it and think, okay, is there an upcoming tentpole that this is super relevant to? For example, maybe the brand is Carl Friedrich, a luxury luggage brand, and maybe, Bustle is planning on running a travel special. Well, then that could be a great opportunity to retrofit some of that content with Linkby links. So the teams will assess the campaigns, they'll opt in if they like the look of it, and then from there, they start to create the content. And of course, they hyperlink relevant parts of that content with their Linkby links. And then that's what triggers the CPC whenever an audience member clicks on those links.
Oh, excellent. Thank you for that representation. I think CPC has kind of a black eye in the affiliate industry. Like traditionally, people are jamming clicks. If you can get paid for a click, why don't you just like get people to click all the time on everything? And there's a lot of fraud in the history. But with you guys, all I see is you guys having really top-notch publications that you're on, and the relevance of the content and the connection between the brands seems to be really dialed in, which is why I'm so excited about having you guys on and talking more through that. So, why do you think CPC is making this comeback? Why is it so hot right now?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think that it's a combination of factors. One that I think is super important, at least from the publisher perspective, is that, like, as you well know, diversifying your revenue streams is crucial in terms of where we're at as an industry. I think a lot of publishers have built up their affiliate programs on traditional CPA, flat fee, but things are changing. The whole first and last click attribution piece, cost of living, it's harder than ever to get someone through the purchasing funnel.
Mhm.
And I think publishers are cluing on to the fact that, hey, we drive so much more value to a brand than simply like a sale. When a brand is tapping into a publisher from a CPC perspective, they're really tapping into, the years of trust and credibility that they've built with their audiences, who might not make an immediate purchasing decision, but the brand is still benefiting from that halo effect of, the trust, authority, and expertise that that publisher has with their audience. And you mentioned before, reputation and making sure that, like, as much as possible, these are high quality clicks. And that's super important to us. That's a big part of what my team does. We have a team of publisher managers whose job it really is to, I guess, match make
Mhm,
publishers
mhm.
with brands and agencies. It's not just like, I'll slap this, brand with this publisher and like call it a day. We converse with our publishers all day, every day through like shared Slack channels. We know very intimately what does well for them, the kinds of briefs that they're looking for. And that allows us to really make very like conscious recommendations to brands
Right.
and agencies about like who we think they should pitch to. And that's when the magic really happens, I think, is when, and look, it doesn't always happen. Like, we can share the world's best recommendations, but sometimes brands and agencies are very fixed on like the idea of the kind of publisher that they want.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I think brands are pretty happy to take our expertise into consideration when they're pitching. And that's kind of where that magic really happens, that sweet spot where you've got a brand that's super um, relevant to a publisher's audience. And then from there, that's where you kind of see that interest. But yeah, so to your original question, I think publishers are really seeing, the importance of diversifying their revenue streams even
Yeah.
more. What I think is really interesting is that we have had publishers say, 18, 24 months ago, just saying, oh, sorry, like Linkby CPC is not for us. Now they're coming back around saying, hey, we think we've missed a trick here. Can you help us do this?
Yeah. All of a sudden they're listening once, Google hit them with a hard algorithm change and their organic traffic that was free is kind of failing. Like, everybody's getting a little desperate out there.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think things will turn around, but this is a really good revenue stream for both publishers, and it gives advertisers a very unique opportunity they might even save money in some instances.
Absolutely. And I mean, we always sort of say that I think, we deliver what traditional PR often can't. Like, for example, brand cut through, like, publishers are incentivized to optimize affiliate content in a very different way to like organic content, right? Or a piece of earned media. A PR agency might secure a piece of earned media. Is that going to get the same level of optimization and distribution as a piece of affiliate content? Definitely not. So that often makes them more effective than like those standard earned placements. And then like results at scale, right? At least on Linkby, there is no limit to the number of publishers that you can feed. So we've got, a huge percentage of repeat brands who use us for all the different stages of their marketing funnel across, like 50, 60 different publishers globally. So that's definitely appealing. And then of course, like the no upfront costs. You mentioned cost saving.
Yep.
Um, I think traditional native campaigns, flat fee campaigns, from a brand and agency perspective, they're often very expensive and it's hard to quantify the value. Whereas CPC is like very black and white. It's like, were
Yes.
the clicks there? Were the eyeballs legitimate eyeballs? Were they there? And, you're not paying for anything outside of that. If the budget's $5,000 and the publisher only drives 50% of that, you're only paying for 50%. And that's another thing that, I think that brands and agencies find really appealing about, CPC and then Linkby in general.
Okay. Awesome. And you guys are doing things a little bit differently. And yeah, the way I've worked with you in the past is going onto your platform, choosing and picking for the brand which websites I like,
Yep.
um, honing in on the message for those websites that we're working with. Um, can you guys work within an affiliate network and you guys integrate, or is this a standalone solution?
Yeah. So Linkby is 100% built from scratch. We don't currently have an API per se, It's something that we're kind of working on, but we do integrate with a lot of the affiliate networks. So like Impact, Racket, we just integrated with Impact actually. So it's definitely possible for brands that have affiliate programs through those networks to use Linkby. It happens all the time. Same with brands who primarily sell through Amazon, for example.
Yeah, and I think I ran into you guys through Everflow and then started this conversation with a couple of different clients and found that connection. So it's great that you're moving towards that. As an affiliate manager, it can be difficult, like monitoring a bunch of other sub networks, if you will. Like you're on a network, having a one hub spot is super convenient. So I'm glad you guys are moving in that direction.
Completely. And I think we've still got a ways to go. I mean, we are still we're kind of still in our infancy as a
Yeah,
company, honestly. And considering that, Linkby was built from scratch by our CTO, Andrew, and his team, we do have a lot of catching up to do, I think, in terms of integrations and reporting and tracking to the level that, like, say, our publishers would like. We do have integration with Trackonomics, but like Affiliate, I'm sure you're aware
yeah.
of. That's we hear from them a lot saying, hey, like, their clients, their publishers are saying, hey, you integrated with Linkby, and it's, those kinds of things are on the roadmap. I think we have seen enormous growth. And so we are playing a little bit of catch up when it comes to, our dev roadmap.
Awesome. And I want to take a little bit of a sponsor break here and highlight Inflection. Like, if you want to add the power of what Linkby is doing here with some co-branded, customized landing pages for that traffic, Inflection is a great solution for you. You've got personalized funnels. We can highlight that traffic by emphasizing the audience that it's coming from and talking to them specifically. Go give Inflection a try and go to dustinhouse.com/INF or Inflection. Moving forward and switching gears a little bit, like, what do you think types of brands that should be considering the CPC in the affiliate space here?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we have over 3,000 brands on the platform globally, and that number's growing all the time. And I think when we first started out, our bread and butter was really D2C brands. And I think that's still the case. We still have so many buzzy D2C brands, those brands that you see like all over your Instagram or TikTok feed, lots of those. But then as we've grown, we've had more and more, I guess, household name brands on the platform as well. I think that's one of the things that, again, brands and agencies love about Linkby is that kind of no matter the objective, there is like a publisher to suit your, needs. So really it ranges from we have the mum and pop shops who use Linkby to great effect right through to say like mid-tier D2Cs that have like millions of Instagram followers, right up to, like brick and mortar type brands that are running huge like out of office out of home, sorry, campaigns. And, everyone from Amazon to Spotify and Augustinus Beta,
Yeah.
massive,
Are
massive brands.
Are you seeing a bump in either B2B or SaaS products utilizing your guys' platform?
Yeah, interesting you say that. I think we definitely have seen an increase in SaaS brands
Right.
testing with Linkby, and I think that's come as we've onboarded more and more tech-focused publishers, like, say, Wired,
Right.
IGN, Gizmodo, Wirecutter as of recently. Definitely a lot of interest in the SaaS space. I think B2B has been slightly tougher to crack. Not that we've really given it like a red hot go, to be fair. And I think that's just because the CPCs in B2B are probably going to have to be quite a bit higher
Mhm.
than say like a $2 to appeal to most publishers. But definitely a growth in the tech and kind of SaaS space for sure.
Okay, gotcha. And in my mind, you know, the ideal product, if it is a D2C product, is gonna be maybe a benchmark of like a $75 to $200 product. I don't know if my rationale is right there, but like it the range of like average order value is probably gonna be into the equation of like whether or not they can afford this cost per click for working with you guys, right?
Yeah, for sure. And again, I think it depends on like a lot of furniture brands, say for example, like
Yeah.
they have it's an expensive product. Like they struggle to sell product on a CPA. And so CPAC, sorry, backs out really nicely for them. Whereas, other brands, if they're only like pumping a bunch of money into, say, like Meta and Google, CPC is a really nice, much more cost effective way of doing business for them. Like, I think there was a recent case study that we shared. We work a lot with Anastasia Beverly Hills. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but the women watching this will be. It's a really big beauty brand.
Right.
And they partnered with us to tap into publishers that had a lot of authority in the beauty space.
Okay.
And what they found, which was really interesting, was that their like Linkby powered content outperformed their Meta and Google ads by 30%.
Wow.
So, and that's something that we see a lot. So whether or not like kind of the maths really depends on the brand, the product, and like also their objective.
Yeah.
Are they really looking to shift product? And again, like conversion's not something we guarantee because like it's impossible to. What we guarantee brands is premium editorial placements
Mhm.
with authoritative publishers that will give you that really nice halo effect. And of course, conversion, sales, like all of those things are really nice byproducts that we see as a result of, Linkby content. But for a lot of brands that we work with, that's not like the be all and end all.
Okay. Gotcha.
Mm. Mm.
All right. And speaking of trends, what are you seeing out there in the publisher space?
Yeah.
What are some of the bigger trends that you're recognizing?
Yeah, I think definitely. I mean, you touched on Google and these, persistent algo changes that kind of tip everything on their head. And I think that in response to that, definitely over the last kind of 12 months, we've seen a massive boom in newsletters as publishers work really
Mhm.
hard, if they weren't already, to build out their owned and operated audiences. Some publishers have been doing that well from day one.
Mhm.
Other publishers are playing like a little bit of a scrambling game now to kind of build out those high value audiences that they own. But we're certainly seeing across the board a ton of very successful newsletter focused Linkby publishers, everyone from Morning Brew, sure you're familiar with, one of the
Yeah.
fastest growing media startups, if you could even call them a startup now, as well as, The Skim. They do newsletters brilliantly. Rank and Style. Bustle has a really strong newsletter proposition. Over in the UK, we've got, Sheerlux, and in Australia, a few as well. So it's definitely a growing area of our business, so much so that we've actually started to dip our toe into the waters of, you know, independent newsletter creators. So basically, like Substackers, who many of them have come from traditional media and they're now building these like very highly engaged audiences across their niche or area of expertise. And in a similar vein, the thinking is, well, these owned and operated audiences are so valuable to brands. On the publisher side or the traditional publisher side, why wouldn't the value proposition be as strong, if not stronger, when it comes to, individual creators whose audiences are oftentimes like paying for their content, paying for their recommendations. So we've started to onboard individual, Substack creators, lots of them in the kind of beauty and lifestyle space because we have so many brands in that area. And I'm excited to see, the results that yields on a CPC basis for sure.
All right. Awesome. Some great points in there. I think Substack and like Beehive is super hot right now.
Mhm.
It's a really high growing trend. Love where it's going in the industry.
Yeah.
Thanks for your thoughts there. Yeah. So switching gears again, as we wind down the show, I like to highlight how you got to this point in your career and how you figured out how to optimize your talents. Any tips out there that you want to give folks that are aspiring chief of content officer here?
Yeah, it's a good question. I feel like uh, it might be a little bit of a cliche, but it's definitely something that's put me in good stead throughout my career is hiring really smart people around me. I think before we were recording the podcast, Dustin, you were talking about how like maybe data and, aspects of data collection aren't like your strongest suit. And I'm the same. And I think I have done a really good job throughout my career of building very like talented teams. I kind of pride myself on being able to identify, people that have really unique skill sets and, bringing them into the businesses that I'm working for. And I think that's put me in really good stead because I don't claim to kind of be an expert in everything. I learn a lot from my teams and the people that I hire. So I think, being a sponge in that way and making sure that you're surrounded with talented people who oftentimes can, you know, do certain aspects of roles much better than you ever could has definitely been beneficial. And then the other aspect to that is honestly, I mean, it's an obvious one, but like networking. I spend a lot of time like cultivating that network. It's been a challenge, like moving from Australia to, the epicenter of publishing here in New York. But I've definitely tried to prioritize that. And it's certainly like helped me build out my understanding of the market a lot quicker and, led to some commercial wins as well, of course. But I think those two things throughout my career to date and just being malleable. I mean, as you know, like the
Hmm.
industry, I mean, I don't when people ask me like, "Oh, what are the jobs that I should consider in publishing?" And, I'm like, I I don't know, like the
If you-
job that you have
Yeah.
might not even exist right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, so I think just like rolling with the punches and being open to the possibility of a role that, you know, might be a bit of a like a Frankensteinian put together like mishmash of all the different things that you're good at is something that, I think is super important as we fare the weather the storms of
For sure.
really like
Flexibility has gotta be a part of your equation at this point. I love the
100%.
networking concept. I love the build it like, the best roles that I've ever had were where I had somebody complementing my skill set with a stronger skill set in the holes in my bucket. So, great
100%.
points there, yeah. Awesome. Now it's part of the time of the show to defend your post. This is where I bring up something from your past and, surprise you. Now, this isn't your fault necessarily, but since you're Australian, I thought I would bring it up. How badly has this breakdancing phenom brought back your country? Like, how bad did you have, the week after work?
Yeah, yeah, not gonna lie, there are a lot of ray gun remarks throughout the team for sure. I
Okay.
mean, look, if anything, she gave a lot of people an excuse to dress up for Halloween. I think I think Australia's used to being like a bit of a butt of the joke when it comes to certain topics, and I think like this is no different. So I don't what can I say? Like I think Australia has a pretty good sense of humor and I feel like, Reagan obviously didn't take herself too seriously. So, that would be my take. I think we've seen worse.
We've seen worse. Agreed, but, like, nothing captivated the Olympics like that. Like, that was the biggest story, and luckily, it is happening in Australia. I feel like the Irish are number 1 and Australia is number 2 at we can laugh at ourselves, and we have no problem with it, like, as
Exactly. Yeah.
far as cultures go.
Seriously. And like I said, it spawned a lot of memes, a lot of laughs, and a lot of very creative Halloween costumes. So I mean, can you really be mad at that?
No, we've had a great time. It's been a great year for it. I love her. It's a
Yeah.
great part of culture.
Yeah.
All right, as we wrap up here, how do we connect with you and how do we work with Linkby?
Yeah, I mean, we have a full sales team ready to kind of demo any brand or agency that's interested. Obviously, my team's always happy to speak with any new publisher who's looking to diversify their revenue. You can connect with me on LinkedIn or on my email, vanessa@linkby.com.
Excellent. Okay, and Dakota is my person over there that I go to for
Yeah,
questions when I have brands that are ready to go, but I'm
amazing.
happy to make that connection as well. So, yeah, really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for being here. One last question as we sign off. What is the one thing that you can't wait for somebody to hear about in this episode out there?
Oh, that's a good well, firstly, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Love
You
the
got
podcast.
it.
I'm very happy to be a guest. I think what I I'm always just happy about is that over time, whether it's a publisher or a brand, they seem to come around to the concept of CPC, and I love educating people on what it's all about, how powerful it can be in the right circumstances. And so anytime I get to talk about that, I'm very pleased to do so. So excited for this one to come out.
I think you're a great ambassador for CPC. Thank you for joining me today. All right, folks, keep on recruiting, and we'll see you out there. Take care.
Bye.